Hi, good evening. Today, me, Regina Lizalanis, along with my team, Ana Belén Suárez Torres, Ashley Michelle Gutierrez, Bruno Sebastián Espronceda Cavazos, are going to present our learning evidence from the subject English in Action 2. Today, we're going to analyze our reading.
The reading that we choose is called Tulipomania.
Tulipomania. One of the most entertaining chapters in Charles Mackay's classic Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds, 1841, concerns a speculative bubble that occurred in the Netherlands in the 1630s. What makes this bubble such a curiosity is that it concerned, of all things, tulips, a variety of flower grown from bulbs and noted from their vivid colors and striking patterns. According to Mackay's account, in the mid to late 1500s, tulips from Turkey made their way to Amsterdam, where they grew in popularity among wealthy people who would pay extravagant prices for their rarer varieties. The desire to possess them is spread to the middle classes, and apparently, people would spend a fortune to acquire a single root. The business in tulip bulbs was so great that by 1623, a single bulb could easily cost as much as a year's salary, and the rarest bulbs by 1635 could fetch as much as 40 times that. If Mackay's figures are correct, a single bulb of the prized Admiral Lifkin variety was worth as much as 19 tons of butter or 440 fat sheep. Apparently, owning such a prize denoted wealth and prestige. Mackay enlivens his account with amusing anecdotes. A sailor, while delivering merchandise, idly stole a bulb of the prized Semper Augustus variety from a merchant, and thinking it was an onion, ate it along with a fish that the merchant had given him. The sailor was quietly sitting on a coil of ropes finishing the onion when the merchant finally caught up with him.
One of Charles Mackay's most intriguing chapters in Extraordinary Popular Delusion and the Madness of Crowds recounts a speculative bubble surrounding tulip in 17th century Netherlands. Initially praised for the rarity and beauty tulip bulb, prices skyrocketed, reaching absurd levels by the 1650s. Mackay's rarity depicts a frenzy of speculation, with ordinary people drawn into the market for quick riches. However, their bubble inevitably burst, leading to the financial ruin for many. This historical episode serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of speculative manias and the irrationality of growth. While the tulip craze might not have a long-term economic consequence, it highlights the human tendency to be swept up by euphoria and the importance of maintaining a critical perspective in financial decision-making.
In another episode, a visiting a modern botanist saw an interesting looking root lying in a wealthy Dutchman's home. Unable to suppress his curiosity, he cut off the prized Admiral van der Eyck tulip to study it. The confused botanist, after being dragged by the collar to the local courthouse, found himself imprisoned until he could raise money to cover the honor loss. To accommodate the lively market for tulips, by 1636 several exchanges were established where buyers and sellers could acquire futures contracts. By buying and trading such contracts, tulip traders sought to profit from the fluctuation in tulip prices and grow instantly rich. The, the availability to easy credit and loans also facilitate buying. Similar to the day traders during the dot-com craze of the late 1990s, who quit their jobs, borrowed money, and used their personal computers to trade volatile internet and technology stocks. People covered their houses and loaned into cash in order to invest in their flowers. In small towns, taverns several at the local tulips commodity exchange. But it was not to last. According to Mackay, Once ordinary people bought tulips to sell for profit and offered planting in rich people's gardens. The price was bound to drop as the foolishness of it all became apparent. In late 1636, prices peaked and fell sharply. Sellers panicked and sold at any price. Buyers defaulted on their futures contracts, and the easy credit that buyers could count on to fund their purchase dried up. Those who got out early ended up quickly rich, but many who believed themselves instantly rich were ruined. Mackay says commerce suffered a severe shock and took many years to recover. Mackay's famous account serves as a warning to all those who speculate in stocks, real estate, or commodities. As investment brochures broadly say, past performance is no warranty of future returns. But did Mackay exaggerate? Was it really an extraordinary delicious and an example of the irrationality of prose? Or was he too anxious to find another instance of what he called the great and awful bug on human folly? Did the 7th century speculation in tulips really do long-term damage to the country's economic infrastructure? Recent writers and researchers have raised doubts about the scope of this bubble and believe a more accurate history of the period better clarifies the reason it occurred.
Thompson and Richard caution against the popular delusion conclusion of Mackay and say tulipomania was actually an example of how market forces efficiently react to sudden changes in the prospects for profit and loss. Dash's book also makes it evident that, like the relatively mild recession following the burst of the dot-com bubble, tulipomania's economic impact was minor since only a fraction of the economy was devoted to tulip trading, with the Amsterdam Exchange and others wanting no part of it. Not all observers are willing to dispose of Mackay so readily. King Philip's famed and ideologically motivated critique of market-based economies, writing at the height of the dot-com bubble, complains that trendy academics like to say that the tulip craze wasn't a bubble at all. Favoring market-driven economies, these researchers too easily dismissed the danger of what she feared was a forthcoming economic disaster in Western economies. Meanwhile, contrarian investors will most likely continue to use the tulip history to warn investors against a herd mentality that encouraged people to buy overpriced stocks, and professional investors and financial analysts will point to tulipomania as a warning of what happens when amateurs make their own investment decisions. Without a clear, agreed upon chronology of events that led to the stunning rise and fall of tulip prices, we may never know the causes with any certainty, and any explanation may reveal more about the researcher's ideological bias than it does about Dutch life in 1636. Was tulipomania an example of mass history and human foolishness? Was it an early indictment of market-driven economies? Is it a textbook example of how markets correct themselves, and a warning to governments not to interfere lest they compound the problems? Or it is simply a blip in history where greed, fear, opportunity, a love for beautiful things, and bad luck converged to produce an improbable outcome? Are there modern parallels? Tulips seem reasonably priced today, but what about star athletes? In the 1990s, the Chicago Bulls professional basketball team paid Michael Jordan tens of millions of dollars each year to play. Risky? Yes. But Jordan brought them 6 championships in the 2010 to 2011 season. 25 players
in the National Basketball Association earned $50 million or more per season. Only one, Dirk Nowitzki of the Dallas Mavericks, played for a championship team. Hoopimania, perhaps? What is the reading about? The reading is about a financial bubble in the Netherlands during the 1630s, known as tulipomania. People went crazy for tulips bubbles. All of the people wanted to buy tulips to get rich and sold it in a price more expensive than it was.
Setting. The tulips arrived in Europe in the mid-16th century from Turkey. This was the beginning of a custom that spread among in Europe and aristocracy. Consequently, tulips became one of the most coveted eaten by wealthiest classes.
Background. The background of the story of tulipomania dates back to the Netherlands in the 17th century. The fascination with tulips led to a speculative bubble where people traded tulips bulbs at increasingly inflated prices, eventually resulting in a dramatic crash in the market. This event is often cited as one of the first recorded instances of a speculative bubble.
Theme. The theme encloses aspects like the rationality of speculative markets and the allure of wealth and social status. It also highlights how emotions like greed and fear can drive financial markets to extremes.
Characters. In this text, we don't have any characters in specific because this is not a story or a narrative.
The plot of the text can be found line 92 of the text. The phrase that says past performance does not guarantee future returns because all the people will research that tulips were a good investment, a good business. In the market, you never know what can happen suddenly.
Analysis. The text, through anecdotes, illustrates the rationality of the tulipomania period. Individuals selling valuable possessions to invest in bulbs with absurd prices. It also discusses the eventual collapse of the tulip market. The text analyzes from different perspectives the period of tulipomania, from viewing it as an example of the irrational behavior of society to understanding it within the context of the market forces of that year. Overall, the text serves as a warning of the danger of unpredictable markets, as well as it causes the reader to reflect on human psychology and behavior. Now let's move on to the vocabulary activity. Here we looked for certain words that were kind of difficult, and we make the chart as well as this chart. This chart we classified it as nouns, as verbs, and as adjectives, and as adverbs. My reflection is that this text leaves us with a really important message. We always want to try to fit in with society just because they say what is correct and what is incorrect.
Reflection. Tulipomania, a tale of the 17th century Netherlands, vividly illustrates the extremes of the human greed and market speculations. It's a questionary reminder of the risk of unchecked enthusiasm and the fragility of financial systems.
In my personal opinion, I think that is crazy how the price of an object can increase or decrease for its fame. And I mean, how the rich people can spend money just for show off the others that money is no problem for who have it.